Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, all praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be unto Abanoah Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakak Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone. Shalom to the prophets of that body. Shalom to the 144,001 third. May peace and blessings be upon your households. I was just going through the latest news segments with regards to unemployment, job losses, and certain verticals or certain what do you call them? Certain areas of the job market. You know, especially those roles that are well-to-do. You know, what you call your civil service, government type jobs. You know, that a lot of them are being taken out of London. And then what came in my mind was that all the jobs, all the major players are moving outside of London, and London is just basically becoming a hot spot for, criminal activity, people from abroad, that see it as a free-for-all, so-called migrants or whatever. And then you got a combination of just YNs as well as just a bunch of racist crackers and Edomites out and about as well, trying to do, what they want to do in terms of bringing justice to their so-called rulership. Okay, reminded me of Elysium. All right, because if you look at a lot of these dystopian type movies, all right, there was one with Chris Tucker and I forgot what it's called, man. The Fifth Wave? No. What's the one with Chris? Let me just find it. Back in 1997 with Bruce Willis. Name of movie with Chris Tucker, Bruce Willis, futuristic, 1997. The Fifth Element. Yeah, The Fifth Element, right, which is set in the city again. And most movies, even I believe Elysium. Yeah, Elysium as well, where you had the lower, you had this Edomite. What's his Edomite's name, man? This cracker in the Elysium. Forgot his name. And he's been in a couple of movies. Forgot this guy's name, man. I'm not going to bother looking for his name now. It's neither here or there. But anyway, this guy, he plays an Ishikarite in there. All right, so-called Mexican. And they're basically just showing the fact that within these cities, they want to keep Jake, under subjection. Jake meaning so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian under subjection. And the people at the top living in these, living in their so-called, better world or a better part of the world. I believe that Elysium in the movie, from what I remember, was like you had to take a rocket or a spaceship or something, the likes of that, to go to, a particular space station or something like that along those lines. But nevertheless, London's becoming like that. So where once these cities like New York and London and places like that, and France, Paris, of course, the city, were places where everybody wanted to flock to. It was like bright lights, big city. This is where things were happening. Now those same people, okay, that are the wealthy, your showstoppers, your showmen, your actors, actresses, all the good jobs and all that kind of thing. People are saying, if you worked in the city of London, man, you are making your money. If you work in the city, you work down Wall Street or whatever, you're making money. You know what I mean? Places like that. People would say that 30 years ago. Now nobody says that anymore because these places are becoming like the opposite of an Elysium. Like if you watch the movie Elysium, like it's becoming like a giant version of the Bronx from the 70s, but add every nationality there as well and a whole bunch of crime. Right? That's what it's becoming. It's becoming like if you see the movie Mad Max with Mel Gibson from I think it's early 80s, it's becoming like that, where you got these crazy MFers everywhere, You got nationalities that are coming from abroad. They see a bunch of women in the Western world, wearing, I don't know, biker shorts and shit. Especially the so-called white woman. They think that my body, my choice. They're so-called white or whatever. They can dress how they want in the West, and these people, motherfuckers, come from parts of Africa, parts of the so-called Middle East, parts of India, whatever, parts of Eastern Europe. Even Edomites are getting in on the game. They're gripping up these women, and it's becoming like that. All right, like a dystopian future. All right, and let's go to the definition of dystopian. All right, dystopian is relating to or denoting an dystopian, relating to or denoting an imagined state or society where there is great suffering or injustice. All right, and if you watch the movie Elysium, these lot were going through a bunch of health issues and suffering and lack of money, lack of food, etc., etc., etc. So they wanted to get to that place where the so-called elites were living. All right, okay. A person who imagines or foresees a state or society where there is great suffering or injustice. And this is where we're at, you know what I mean? Okay, let's go to the job losses, all right? I'm not going to make this too long. I'm going to try and just get to the point, okay? Goldsmiths to make more cuts after critical policy changes. Okay, UK job market faces further decline in early 2025. This is from February. 16th of June 2025, further job cuts needed to cope with tax raid businesses. All right. Thousands of civil servants. Now let's see what the definition of civil servant is, because I hear that term a lot in the UK, not in America. Definition of civil servant. A civil servant is a person employed in a government department or agency distinct from members of the armed forces, judiciary, or elected officials. They are typically politically impartial and work to implement government policy. Okay? That's what they do. All right? That's a civil servant. So, this is from May 2025. Let's go here, man. Thousands of civil servants to leave London as government cuts costs. All right, this is from 14th of May. This is only like, what, 2 months old? All right, just under 2 months, about 5 or 6 weeks. Thousands more civil servant jobs. Just like the Trump cut those jobs in the government in America. The same thing here in the UK as well, man. All right. All right, they're getting rid of all the people that are just bullshitting around. They don't really need. Especially a whole bunch of women more than likely, and they're keeping all the major jobs, giving pay hikes to certain people that have been there seasoned for a while, mainly the men, giving them more responsibility, but giving them more money as well, and to also work outside of London. So therefore all the major jobs are leaving London. So basically, London, if you live in London, if you compare London how it used to be from the 80s and early 90s to how it is now, it's like, man, a whole bunch of movies come in my mind, man. There was a movie, I think it was French or something, or German, called District something, from back in the day, man. What was it called? French movie, District 9? French dystopian movie, District 9. Yeah, District 9. Oh, it's not a French film? Oh, it's South Africa. Yeah. I think District 9 was like that as well, Where they showed this city or this area, right? Where it was just under, where it had like it was this a dystopian environment, okay? And that's where London is becoming now. All the jobs are being moved out. A whole bunch of migrants are coming in. Esau getting pissed off. America, the UK, Australia, European cities, countries, or whatever, so-called European cities and countries are falling apart. Okay? Thousands more civil servant jobs are set to be moved out of London as the government seeks to cut costs and move more decision-making out of Whitehall. All right, that's Whitehall is the area in southwest London. SW means southwest. City of Westminster. All right, under plans to radically reform the state. The government has announced it will reduce the number of civil servants working in the capital by 12,000. All right, we will reduce the number of civil servants in the capital by 12,000. So they're going to knock out 12,000 jobs, shifting jobs to a series of new regional campuses across the country. All right, it's like even Mike Epps and a lot of people have touched on this, where back in the day, people wanted to move out of the how was it? Yeah, people wanted to move into the cities or near the cities, right? For work, travel, uh, access to trains and buses and things like that. You know, it's usually the elderly people that lived out in the suburbs or that was far away from the hustle of the so-called city or the metropolis, right? Mainly retired folk and the elderly, or your grandma might live, I don't know, 20 miles outside of the city or whatever, right? Or maybe more. Now it's flipping the other way around. Now the cities are being made desolate, right? And the other parts of the country are being filled up, you know? And so, like, these cities are going to be like a no-go zone in the future very soon, you know? And a lot of these elites, uh, these rich people are leaving London and all the major cities. Jobs are leaving London and all the major cities. Why? Because they know something is coming down the pipe, okay? Down the pipeline, you know? Um, something's coming. And they know, all right? Because the city, every London, especially London, New York, LA, all these major cities around the world are going to be, under martial law and full of crime, all right? These once cities that were mentioned on every cologne and perfume bottle. Oh, so and so. Let's just say this is any brand, right? Of perfume or cologne. Yeah, what did it have there at the bottom, underneath that cologne? It would say New York, London, and Paris. Those three major cities that were so-called posh or well known. New York, London, Paris. All right, all bright lights, big city, la di da, posh restaurants, Michelin restaurants, 5-star restaurants, you know, old school movies from the 80s and 90s saying, oh yeah, let's go to the city, you know, teenagers wanted to go to the city. Now that's the nobody wants to go there anymore because nothing's happening there, man. Everything is dying. The Lord is squeezing the life out of life out of this once popular locations for jobs and entertainment. All right. The changes will also see 11 government office buildings close, including one of its largest Westminster sites, in a move expected to save £94 million a year on London's expensive rental and leasing costs by 2032. I don't give a fuck about these dates, man. The Lord going to return way before that, man. Lord willing, all right? But if the Lord returns after that, we got to wait, But I don't think we're going to hear that long, man. I doubt that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. These dates, they piss me off, man. He's still coming out and he's putting out these dates out of his ass, man. Government departments will be expected to submit plans for relocating staff, including senior civil servants, as part of the spending review due to be completed on June the 11th. Oh shit, that's come and gone. Pat McFadden, the Chancellor of the Duchy of the Duchy of Lancaster, whatever that means, what is this, man? This word, Duchy of the Duchy of Lancaster, told ITV News, "We want the civil service to be more part of the local economy, contributing to local employment and local economic growth," which ain't gonna happen. Ain't shit gonna happen, man. All right, the only economic growth is going to be is in prostitution, because a whole bunch of you women. It's horrible to say because Jake is a very merciful people. We're very merciful, all right, okay. But a lot of these women, especially nice-looking ones, right, with nice bodies, are going to be selling it, and even your average ones are going to be selling it. All right, you're going to be selling it, okay. Especially real attractive ones. You know how men desire you, and you're going to say to yourself, you know what? If I can charge for their desire, I can make some money. And some of you women will go in that direction. and a whole bunch of you women that once walked these high streets, these locations to go restaurants lunchtime, to the pub lunchtime, lardy dying and everything, and having that lovely cushy job in the office. You're going to be working that same location, but you're going to be wearing different attire, and you're going to be selling your backside. All right, and obviously this is going to be a whole bunch of women before they even get into that area of being a prostitute. Isaiah 4:1 will kick in as well, where 7 women will want to be called by an Israelite man's last name, paraphrasing the scripture. All right, an elect man, of course, whoever that will be. If it's in your lot to come across that man. All right. So, man, we're seeing the demise of this world, man. We're just seeing. Let's go to some other ones. Okay, let's put here. Bad news if you're in the UK. Economic Times. Bad news if you are in the UK. Over 200,000 employees are to lose their jobs in 2025, and Keir Starmer may have to take the blame. Man, they already hate this geezer, bro. They hate Keir Starmer, man. I seen that cracker go into a pub, and some Edomite wanted him out. All right, we got the gist of the story, man. 200,000 employees lose their jobs. Keir Starmer's going to get the blame. So, he walked into a pub, and the Edomite said to him he wants him out of the pub. This Edomite, the owner or the landlord of the pub, was pissed off. So, get the fuck out of my pub, man. People don't like these people, man. 2nd Ezra 15 comes in my mind, where they'll have no regard for their kings or princes or the leaders of their of each, of their so-called world or whatever, right? This is 5 days ago. Journalism industry job cuts. even being a journalist is job cuts. Well, I guess they can go to YouTube and become their own, they can become a journalist there, because everyone's a damn journalist on YouTube. 2025 journalism job cuts tracked. Latest as Future closes laptop mag. Job cuts in the journalism industry in the UK and US came thick and fast in the first few months of 2025. Companies making major cutbacks in 2025 include Business Insider, ITV, Press Association, MSNBC. Damn. UK and America, man. Let's go here. In 2024, according to analysis, there were 4,000 journalism industry job losses in the UK and US. The losses were double that the number in 2023, where Press Gazette tracked at least 8,000 new media job cuts. All right. I'm not going to read the whole thing. We're just going to go to the major slogans and the major statements, and get to the point. All right. Okay, they're just breaking down where the job losses are, Sky Sports and all that kind of thing, all that kind of jazz. So as you can see, man, it's going to turn into, each, like these once thriving cities. Like, if you watch movies like, I like watching a lot of classic movies, right? From back in the day, from your childhood days, because obviously the Hollywood was, even though we know it's all demonic, but they made better movies back in the 80s and 90s. You know what I mean? They had more of a better story, a better glossy look in terms of the camera work. It was a more of a thriving environment. Like, you watch like movies like Pretty Woman, right? With what's that bitch's name, man? That tall one, whatever her name is. One with Richard Gere, Julia Roberts. That's it, Julia Roberts. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you watch that movie, that was Los Angeles. That was Beverly Hills in the early 90s. That's damn near 35 years ago. A very different world to how it is now. It was demonic and messed up then, but it's not as glossy, as shiny as it is back then. There's homeless people walking through Beverly Hills. Stores are shutting. You got that Issacharite Jake walking around saying, "Police, police," inside joke, if you know that one. All right? That place is done. Homeless people everywhere. London is the same place. Banks are shutting down. Physical banks are shutting down. Old people are struggling because they're not that tech savvy. You know what I mean? There's homeless people everywhere. You know, people got grey faces and shit, spiritually and literally. You know, love is not in the air anymore. You know, the love of many shall wax cold. All right. Now we're seeing these dystopian environments being created everywhere, man, and it's going to get only worse. There is no turning back the tide, man. All right. The Lord did say, though it tarry, wait for it, man, and it's really going to pop off soon. Man, I was hoping July the 4th, these crackers would do something, but motherfuckers ain't done shit. You know, they're like fucking Keith Sweat. They can say, I'm gonna, but they ain't doing shit. So I understand everything's in the power of Yahweh Hashem Yashai, but you know how it is, bruv. You know, we want to get out of here so bad you can taste it. You know, you want this motherfucking kingdom to end, man. You want the system to crash already, for fuck's sakes. You know, pardon my French, but you know, the vexation and being in this world really pisses you off, man. You know what I mean? Let's go here. You know, you got people bitching and moaning about work, lack of jobs. They haven't achieved what they want to achieve by the age of 35, 40 years old. Beautiful, attractive women that still look damn near half decent, even at the age of 40, don't have children, they don't have a husband, they don't have certain things they aspired when they were 20 years old, and they're crying. You know, they're looking at themselves in the mirror and saying, man, I haven't done shit in my life. You know, a lot of people are crying, they can't make ends meet. You know, they got to the point where they got to make choices. They got to cut down on certain deodorants and perfumes and hair oils and creams. Maybe, you know, you use it a little bit less, or you use it sparingly. It's got to that point, and it's going to, you know, get to the point where, you know, you're going to decide whether you're going to put fuel in your car or eat. Haggai 1:6. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And it's going to get to that point where, you know, there'll be a point in the near future, very soon, where you could be paying 20, 30 pound or 30, $40 for a damn near loaf of bread. You know, it's getting to that point. I've seen 25% price hikes on even your children's basic snacks in the supermarket. 25 fucking percent. All right. Ezekiel 4:16. Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight and with care, and they shall drink water by measure and with astonishment. There's going to be days where, you know, you're going to feel like you're going to need to wash. You won't be able to have a full shower. You're going to say, I can't have a full shower. You know, you might have from having one or two showers a day, you might be having damn near one shower a week, or one shower every 2 weeks, and just using a wet wipe, if you can find any, to just clean your bits and pieces. And you're going to have that water. You might say, okay, I'm going to have a glass of water a day. It's going to get to that point. But the elect, all right, are going to eat, all right? Okay, the elect are going to eat. It's only the heathens and the 2/3 that are gonna suffer, man. You understand? All right, but the elect shall eat. All right. Because the Lord said that, you know, his elect will eat. Paraphrasing scripture there. So as you can see, you know, it's going to get to that point. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, man. What it's going to lead to, you know, which is gives you sort of a good description of what time we're going towards. 2nd Ezra 15:14, King James Version. Or 14, was it 15? 15? Oh yeah, that's it. 15. Actually, there's more to it I want to read. 2nd Ezra 15:14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right. People are going to get to that level where they don't give a shit about, or that's the queen, or that's the king, or that's the certain politician. They don't give a shit. That don't mean nothing to them when a man can't feed his own people. Feed his own family. All right? Where a person can't have no optimism or aspirations to grow, to become something in this world, especially the so-called white man, because this is their heaven, you know, and they want to succeed and exceed and make money and live a nice life, have a nice home, have nice things and trinkets and shit. And that's over for the so-called white man. And you heathens too. And you two-third jakes that want to make it, you're going to get it too. All right? Because you have no fucking idea. This is a good thing that this world is falling. All right? Let's go to verse 16 again. For there shall be sedition among men. They're coming together talking about how they're going to do this, down the third, and, come together, you got these racist skinheads and certain racist groups coming together and connecting worldwide, and they got little pods or little crews in different various cities, and they're all training. You got that, they're coming together, they want to take over the government or whatever. All right, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their action shall stand in their power. And these dystopian cities will become martial law areas, man. All right, as well as other parts. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, you won't be able to. All right, because what they're doing is having all the criminal activity in all the major hotspots around the city, so they can be cordoned off and they can be controlled. Okay, so they got most of you people of color in these cities, so you can be controlled, and all the good jobs and all the people that have these high and mighty so-called jobs are going outwards, out of the city, into these spread out locations, which is full of more pale people. You want to put it that way. All right. Okay. Verse 18. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right. And that's where we're going to. For the lack of bread, people are going to be invading one another, man. All right. All right. For the lack of jobs, for the lack of a future, people will be invading one another. Let me just go to one more verse, man. All right. Let's go to maybe verse. All right. Yeah. Verse 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. What's the meaning of tribulation? All right. Definition of tribulation: a cause of great trouble or suffering. All right. So a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. And tribulation means great trouble or suffering. All right. So a lot of great trouble and suffering is coming. All right. But the elect are going to be okay. The elect are going to eat. The elect are going to be protected. The elect will have their backs against the wall. The elect got their backs against the elect have their backs against the wall right now. They go through their hell daily. But the Lord Yahweh Shemeshai delivers them out of all their problems. All right? Because the Lord said he's going to be with them till the end of till the end of the earth. The Lord is not going to leave the elect alone. All right? The Lord has not left the elect alone. The angels are with the elect. All right? To listen to the prayers and deliver these prayers into the ears of Yahweh Shemeshai. All right? So the elect are going to be all right, whoever they are, scattered to the four corners of the earth. But we say hopeful elect because Lord willing, we can be part of that number to be saved if it's in the Lord's mercy and in the Lord's will. All praise to Yahweh Shemeshai. So, as you can see, we are as it says here, growing signs of slowdown in UK job market. Yeah, we've seen the signs, the growing signs, the signs are increasing. Between you and me, man, I was watching. What's that movie, man? Independence Day yesterday, right? Or Saturday or Sunday, one of them days, right? And I love the part where the chariot shows up in New York, man. The smoke clears and a huge, powerful chariot is there. I love that scene, man. Oof. Boost pimples, man, when Yahweh Shai returns. I love that scene. Just can't wait, man. It's just like it's like a meal. You can taste it, but it's not right in front of you yet. You just want this effing place to fall, bruv. You get me? I want it to fall so bad. I hate this fucking world, man. May Yahweh Shemeshai destroy it. Salaki for my lingo. I know it's early hours on a Monday, the 7th of July. But boy, we wake up fed up. Man, I hate this world. But anyway, the Lord is returning soon. It's the 7th of July. We're more than halfway through this year of 2025, and let's see what the Lord does. And Lord willing, the Lord, Yahweh Shemeshai, really sticks it to this world, man. And this place fools, man. You know. Anyway, Mawatha Bad Babal, Kwame Shalom.